Hey, it's Taylor Rick, and we're back again with another one of these little echoes of New Eden shorts. If you watched the last one, great. We're going to pick up right where we left off as far as insurance goes and go right into corporation missions and corporation markets. And the reason I'm doing that is because these two things tie together. And you'll see that here in a minute. So last week we talked about the insurance structure and how it kind of works, kind of doesn't work, kind of has some issues. So, but with that said, I was really surprised that it actually works better than I thought it would. So everybody had always said that the way that the insurance office worked was that you would get one out of every 6 or so insurance contracts for whatever it was that was dying. Maybe you would get 1 out of 6 of the same whole. And maybe you would get some rigs, or maybe you'd get this, that, or the other. And in the first couple of days, we got absolutely nothing out of this. And then all of a sudden, after the patch that week, that's when it started happening. So, and instantly, within the first 2 days, I got like insurance contracts for 3 different holes, a Dominic's, I think there was a Badger 2 in there, Venture 3, just a smattering of whatever. From people dying in my corporation. So, but we made money on all of those. For instance, the Dominic's was $484 million, and it only cost us $310 million to make it. So that's a nice profit. And the contract lasts for 7 days, so you have plenty of time to do it. Now, the odd thing about the insurance is that after those first initial ones, they stopped working. And if you go into your contracts and go into search for contracts and then go and change your filters to corporation and hit confirm, this is where you see all the insurance contracts. If someone knows a better way to look these up, please, for the love of God, tell me, because this is clunky as all hell. And, of course, the person that dies sees these contracts going from him to the corporation. So now it's taking up a contract slot. So it's, they can delete it or whatever, I don't know, but I haven't asked anybody to delete them yet. For ones like this one right here, I'm going to, because who cares? Who cares? 414,000. Like, no one's going to spend time on that. Don't care. But I had one here earlier, and I'll bring up the image right now, for 3 CCC rigs. And that was a nice, as you can see, a nice quick 40 million, 45 million-ish worth of profit. All I had to do was fill it. So the clunky thing, though, about some of these is, for instance, like this one right here. These are 2 targeting system controller, subcontroller 3s, right? So you can see right here that your total price is $19 million. Okay, but you can even just go right in here and see that you're getting paid $19 million. Estimated market value is $26 million. We all know the estimated market prices are stupid. But you can click on this and go right to the market. Aha, there you go. See how far off that is? You can buy 2 of them right now for $6 million a pop. That's $12 million. And then turn right around and come back here and get $19 million. So gain of $7 million. If you want to waste your time doing that. So instead, what I've been doing, instead of wasting my time trying to do that, is just to make sure that I have a good amount of stock on hand of the common rigs, whether these are ones that drop, the blueprints drop locally for us. We have Serpentis space, we have Garistas space, so we get a good smattering between the two. And we just make sure they're in stock. And that's the other clunky thing about this. You never can tell what's going to show up here and what's not going to show up here. I mean, look, we're getting fittings. 3 PITH-C ballistic control systems, right? I'd have to look this up to see if this is even worth doing. Doesn't even look like it to me. $2 million to begin with. I don't know if I would touch it. If I had stock, from a drop somewhere else, dead space, whatever, fine. I would just go and do it and move on, because that was stuff that was looted for free, technically, or just isn't needed by a Corp member at the time. Hell, here's a armored command burst. Don't know what the fuck someone's doing with that installed, but anyway. When you're anyway. So there's money to be made here, is the short story of the insurance thing. There is money to be made here, but you have to be smart about it. And you have to be careful what you're doing and watching what you're doing. You can't just go through and have all this stuff bought and sitting here and ready to go. You'd lose your ass. But if you're careful about it and you plan it out and you have these things ready to go and you're using whatever your drops are in your local system that you're just scooping up for blueprints, for debris, to make the rigs, all that kind of stuff. And, of course, watching when the holes actually drop, which we haven't had, as you can see here. There's nothing. We haven't had a single one since the last hole dropped. So that was weird. I don't understand that at all. So it's very clunky. It's very hit or miss. But you can easily add, I don't know, just a rough estimate in the first full week of us using this. I'd say we probably made 350 million in extra profit with very little work needed for it. Now, in terms of filling these, I didn't have to do it myself. I've done a few of them myself, but I don't have to do that. A few of these I've actually had Corp members fill them, and this is where this ties into the corporation missions and corporations market. So if we go take a look at that right now, go into corporation, and we see right here that I'm probably going to have to get rid of a few of those so you can't see them. A little bit of offset going on right there. Same thing with this screen. So should have thought about that ahead of time. Oh, well. TCOS, eat your heart out. So anyway, we use this over here on the corporation's purchase side for some of these insurance contracts. Right now, there's nothing there. This is just currently what I'm paying out and how much I need of the current minerals for a current build. We have a dreadnought we're getting ready to put in a build here in the next day or two. And these are the last little bit of minerals that we need to get the button pushes going. So when we're doing this, for instance, if I was on the insurance page right now and I would see, okay, maybe I need those 3 CCCs, and maybe someone has those 3 CCCs and they were willing to pay or willing to part with them for, you know, whatever it is, making up numbers here at this point. Let's say 40 million a piece. And so I could just put them up here and buy them for 40 million a piece and turn around and sell them on the insurance contract for 60 million a piece and make 20 million a piece in profit. That's essentially what I did earlier this morning with the CCCs. So didn't have to put them up here because I already had them, but you get the picture. The corporation market right here is a great way to be able to have your corporation members fill those contracts so that you as the CEO don't have to do anything, or you as the corporation buyer or corporation manager, whatever, however you break down your organization, you can have that individual person. That could be this could be a brand new role. This could be a brand new job for someone to do in the game, where all they do is manage the internal corporation market for purchases off of insurance contracts, and that's how maybe they make their corporation Omega that way. So again, there's lots of ways to make money inside of these this corporation page. So let's break this. So outside of the insurance all by itself. So let's break that down here real quick. So let's just start with the corporation market itself and the corporation's sale. These are all the ships that we've currently built or blueprints we have that we're ready to get rid of and how much they cost. You'll notice that some of these say ISK. They're in ISK value, like this Hurricane right here. Some of them say points, right? We are now using the point system. Yes, a whole nother currency. As you can see up at the top, I have 910 million right now. I'm poor at the moment. And then I have 37 million points. So I could redeem those points for ISK. And I do that on the missions page, where you can see that there's a Blim Flark redemption of 50 million. So if I hit accept if I had 50 million points, I could hit accept and it would convert 50 million points to 50 million ISK. It'd go right into my wallet. It's already come out of the corporation wallet because when these missions are created, and you have them set up that way, they pull right from the corporation wallet. So you have to have the funds first in order to make these. So again, that's how we do this, though, as far as all of our mining and extra minerals and PI we have set aside. We build ships to then sell back, and we can keep all of that inside of points because, as you can see here, people are rewarded in points for the minerals they sell to us, which they can turn around on the mission page and turn into ISK. Now, this does two things for you as the corporation in order for you to make money as a corporation. Every corporation should be making money, even if it's only a little bit, to maintain your wallet balance and stay afloat, and you're not really there as a for-profit trying to just build up billions of ISK, which we're kind of doing both at this point. We're not trying to make a profit off of our own players, but we are trying to build up a war chest, a nest, if a nice big fat nest, if you will. So, and we're doing that with this on the points system with the 50 million at a time or 100 million at a time or 250 million at a time to be able to delay those payouts. I can buy up a whole bunch of minerals, I can buy up a whole bunch of PI, and I can get a whole bunch of stuff built and sold and slowly pay out people for it so that the money flow, the cash flow is there to be able to, get a jump start on things. So any brand new corporation just starting, 15, 20 members, maybe you don't even have SOV yet, this is a great way to start adding wealth so that you can turn around and pay for a citadel, pay for outposts, whatever it is you're looking to do. And as you can see right next to the Blimflark redemption, and of course Blimflark comes from Rick and Morty, we're C137, it's all about Rick and Morty, so there you go. You can see right there, Corp Basic Omega Recirculation. Okay, what that means is if they have 500 million points accumulated, I will give them Corporation Omega for one of their accounts. That could be used on an alt, that can be used for anything. That's 500 million worth of stuff that they've given me that I can turn around and go and just add Corporation Omega to one of their accounts for. So that's another great advantage here for your internal players to use. Then, of course, a player can apply. They can go in and put in anything. These are just the ones that I've put in, but I've used this for hauling missions over on the main missions panel. Those missions then, of course, show up right here so that you can see. Like right now, we're trying to get a bunch of Aura data compilers, obviously, for the Rorqual build we have going on. That's about the only reason you need those things is to make that tactical module, the SEAL or the Sea Lion, one of the two. I think we're making both. So that basically means we need 40 billion worth of data or compilers. It's nuts. And then, of course, you can see missions accepted, the ones that have already, you can see we filled out a whole bunch of these, 25 million at a time, 50 million at a time, 1 billion at a time. Filled out one of those for a member as well to pay him out real quick instead of having to hit that button a whole bunch of time. So this is a great way to be able to do this. Let's walk through how to make a mission, and let's walk through how to make a corporation sale. All right, so first we'll start with missions. We'll go to mission panel. We'll go create one. You can do one for reimbursement. You can do one for ordering ships. I really don't know what, I forget that. I just go into custom every time and make one. I've made some templates, but whatever. I see why it's not doing that. Right now, the way I'm looking at this, I'm looking at it the same way that any player does. But if I hit this button up here, I switch over to the manager mode. Now when I create one, I can see my templates and everything else. So even though I was in the missions panel and I hit publish missions for corporation, I see that now I have 3 different options at the top: a sale, a purchase, or corporation munitions. And it's the same way whether I was on the missions panel or the market panel. So I have no idea what the separation is between those two and why they even changed the name of the button. But whatever. And then you can see some of these ones we've had set up, risky business, buybacks, CTAs, weekly pause tax. We do tax our outposts that are in our sovereignty. That's another great way for a corporation to make money. And this is another great way for those individuals who have outposts to pay their tax. Because again, everything that we're doing in here can either be done in points so that you're not touching your wallet, or it can be done with direct ISK so that you're not having to do contracts. So this all evades the contract system. There's no 8% tax. There's no market tax. There's no nothing. So it's a direct one-to-one. You lose no money on tax, which is the way it should be. So you can do that as well. So we'll just go in here to custom. We just type in the name. We'll say test. We go to a mission label. You can make these labels on the fly. There's nothing crazy about any of this. Let's say we want to do some intel. Okay, I want to pay one of my guys to go and find some intel, whether that's scouting, exploring, give me pause locations on somebody we want to blow up, whatever that is. We can come down here to mission priority, and we can say it's low because we're not really worried about it right now. But this intel could be anything we want. And oddly enough, our emails only have 400 characters, which you never know when they're going to get cut off, and it always screws you up. But right here, they seem to have fixed that with 2,000 characters, and you can literally see like when you're going to get it cut off. So, little tip there, NetEase. Fix that on the emails to the corporation page. You fixed it here on the mission editor. And then, of course, you can determine, contribution. What does the member have to give us, and what does the member get in return? So let's say in return, he's going to get 25 million points. 25 million points. But what does he have to give us? Well, let's say his intel bounty, I wish I could just come over here and select a bookmark. but you can't. Give me a bookmark for something somewhere. So you really don't have the ability to do that. So you can either just rely on them or tell them in the notes to give you a bookmark, or you can come over here and say, yeah, you have to do a little bit of exploring, and you have to go and find something. Find me, some of those, right? They'll tell the hangar it's going to go into. So you set the station you want it in, the hangar you want it to, say next. So give me one of those for 25 million points. In this case, I think those are probably worth more like 65 million, so I would probably want to change that. If I hit confirm here, I go back to our creation window. And now we can literally say, okay, how many times do I want to do this? Well, I want to do this 50 times because I want 50 of these damn things, right? But only one member can only do 10 of them. So I want this to spread around. What I found with some of these missions sometimes is if you go and set it and you want to get a couple of them, sure enough, one member will go out and run them all like instantly and collect all the points. And now like people who weren't signed in on that day, or maybe that are in a different time zone, had zero chance whatsoever to accomplish that mission or even participate. So I've learned really fast to limit the number of times that individual players can do things. And then, of course, if I want this to be an ongoing thing, then I can just set it for every 7 days or 5 days or whatever it is I want to do. If I want to be able to collect a certain amount of morphite, for instance, if I'm low on morphite, which nobody in this game is, I don't know why I'm using that as an example, but whatever. If I wanted to collect morphite for capital builds, I could put up a mission here saying, hey, we need 50,000 morphite every week to build carriers every week. And therefore, I could have it rolling on it every 7 days. And it would just keep going. And I could limit the number of people who could donate so that they could get rid of their excess morphite, because everybody has millions and millions of it, and we have absolutely no fucking use for it. So whatever. But maybe I could buy it from them for way less than what it's selling on the market, and then go shuttle it up there in a scepter and sell it and make some money. See? Great ideas come from this stuff. Anyway, if I hit confirm, it'll create this, and off you go. That's a mission. You can also go in and limit the time. So for certain things that you need by, let's say it's today's Tuesday, let's say you have to have something by Friday in order for something to go into build, or you have to have an item like this to be able to do reverse engineering on your blueprints by Friday so you can get a build in. Whatever schedule you're working on, you can put that schedule in there as well. You can also say, where do you want to get it from? So this is great. Let's say you really want to go and disrupt somebody's supply chain, and you want to go down and see our friends down in Burr, which really should be R, because they're pirates, but I don't fucking understand why they're cold. But anyway, you can come in here and find their location. Just search right there and say, go loot Burr. And I'll pay you $25 million. I don't give a shit what you loot. Just go find something and bring it back, or maybe something specific. Go take some PI from them or something, right? So this creates a really cool little way to create some very neat little missions for people to make money, incentive to go places and do things, which of course then means maybe they'll get blown up and die, and then you have an insurance contract for their rigs, and you make money off of that as well. I mean, this is great. I couldn't help myself. Anyway, no offense to Burr, although we will be paying you a visit. Anyway, so that's the corporation mission editor. That's how all that works. I'm going to say cancel, confirm, get out of it. You can see how we've used these on a whole bunch of stuff. We convert things. We do yellow decryptors. We find OR data compilers. We get outpost bookmarks, 20 of those, good intel bounty. So there's lots of ways to use this. You really just have to use your imagination, and you can come up with 1,000,001 ways. And then, of course, there's statistics and other things you can do. I'm not going to get too far into the weeds because I'm sure this is longer than the 5 to 6 minutes, 8 minutes that I keep telling Rambo I'm going to hold these to. Because once I get going, I just don't stop. Okay. The next thing is over on the corporation market, on the corporation sale. I think you can probably figure that out. I don't think I need to explain that. Like if you're selling a ship, fittings, rigs, whatever you're selling, an individual item that's repackaged, that's where you want to sell whatever that is, for whatever you want to. Maybe you have a good system set up for intake of ore in your system for like a mining Monday or a mining Sunday type of thing, and you collect a whole bunch of ore and you turn around and use that plus your ratting money to build your doctrine ships. And then you turn around and sell those for build cost plus, 20%. So that you make a little bit of money, but the cost of the whole is way lower than what it would be otherwise. In this case, that's one, idea for you. In this case, what you can see here is we're not doing that. We're pretty much selling these things at cost, although I think I put up the hurricane logistics a little high. But what I've had here is members actually sell me the ships that I've told them to build so that they're making money. I make sure that they have a little bit of a profit on it. They sell those up to the corporation individually by either creating a mission or whatever. And then I turn around and repost them right here. And I either do it like a 1-to-1 or maybe I add a little bit just to make sure that we have positive cash flow. As you can see with our points and billions up at the top, it's not always a 1-to-1 positive cash flow, but about 22 billion of that negative points are those fucking data or compilers for those tactical modules. So that's why. If I deleted that, we'd be even there. And you want to be careful about that. This brings up a really good point. You do not want to have your points ever be more than 2 times the amount of ISK you have on hand. A lot of people are probably going to complain to me and say it should be 1-to-1, Taylor, so that you can afford to pay anybody out at any given time. And you're right. But technically, that stalls you, because what I normally do is I always have something up there that no one's done yet, which means I haven't paid them out yet. It's just points. And that's why that number is so high, is there's a lot of future. That really the points is here in the future, whether it's 1 week or 2 weeks, 3 weeks, that's how much I'm going to owe. So for me, I'm not too worried about it. I know those are going to take a long time to come in. I'm gonna guess like a month, because you need like 200 of them. And right now I think we're only getting 2 or 3 in a dead space if we're lucky. So it's going to take a while. Also, we have quite a bit of money in other held reserves than that 2.9 billion, so I'm not too concerned about it. But I would tell you as a corporation CEO, never go more than 2 times that, unless you're doing something like what I'm doing right now. And then maybe you can stretch it, because you know it's going to take a long time for people to redeem those. I was surprised at how fast my members picked up on this and started just rolling. And so I had to be very careful, other than the data compilers anyway. I had to be very careful about what I do, which is why I want to make sure I have on these just a little bit of positive for some good cash flow to ensure that we can cover the point spread we put out. So the sale's pretty easy. Corporation purchases, this is where it can get a little trickier. This is me buying from my members, and I'm putting up the minerals and the amounts and the prices for them. I'm going to create one of these real quick so that you can see. This is really handy how this works. So you go into the missions tab, and I'm going to go into a purchase. And let's say I want to buy PI. So I go into materials, and I go into resources. And let's say I want to buy these right here. I'm just picking the first 6 for no reason. There's where I want them to go. I want them to go to our main citadel, the Citadel of Rix. I want them to go into the Hangar 1, which is where we put all of our minerals and PI. And so I say next. And now I get 1. I got to go through and put the quantities in. So you have to hit backspace and type in the number. If I want 180,000. If I don't, and I just start typing, it leaves the 1 in front of it. I don't understand what that's all about. It should just say 0, but whatever. Easy fix, Netties. Anyhow, so that part's easy, straightforward enough. What's cool is right here. You can switch between edit points or ISK. So if I just change it to ISK, now I'm going to be paying them right out of the wallet. As soon as I hit confirm on this, it's going to pull points and money right out of the wallet and create this. That's why that negative balance of points gets up there. That just tells you what you owe out in the future. But what's even better about this is whether it's on ISK or on points, if I go in here and hit backspace and delete all of that, it gives me a price history. What that price history is either the last time that I paid for it, that's how much I paid, or if you've never put it in here before, that price history comes from the market. And for whatever reason, it's not the market estimated value. It's actually like it's almost every time I've done this, I go back and look, and it's almost always dead nuts, even with the very first buy order or sell order that's out there on the market. So they're pulling that data in, and this right here is actually more accurate than the estimated market price, which is funny because right here you can see at the bottom total market price. And this number, if I was to add these, if I was to go through and do all this and look at this price history up here and do all of this, actually comes out pretty damn accurate. So as you're doing this, you can see if your total market price versus the points you're paying out is good for you. And you always want this to be a little less than this. Again, you just want that buffer. You're not trying to rip people off. You're not trying to pay them less than what it's really worth market value-wise. But you're trying to come somewhere in between what that sale price is or versus what their taxes would be on a contract or anywhere else, so that you as the corporation don't lose money. The value of these minerals, PIs, and everything else changes every single day. If you watch the market like I do, they swing wildly all over the place. You can pay $3,300 today for Megasite and all of a sudden pay $3,000 for it the next day, and then holy shit, you bought 50,000 of it, or actually, I think when I buy them, I'm buying like 1 million of that shit at a time. That adds up. So you got to be careful with that. So this is how all that works for the corporation purchase. Very simple, very easy. I would hit confirm here. It would create all this stuff, and then but it would leave it as individuals like this. So you can do multiple at one time. And you could switch back and forth, look at the market, and then come back in here and do it all over again. So you really have to kind of look at the market maybe on your phone, somewhere else, and kind of know what you're doing with your layout, your quantities, your spreadsheet for your builds, whatever it is you're trying to do. And then look at those market prices before you start to fill all of that out, because you can't really swap that screen, but you can at least get that price history. That was a huge one for me when I learned that. I don't know if anybody else has talked about that before, but whatever. So that's the purchases. The munitions is really kind of odd. Corporation munitions is the exact same thing as corporation sale. The only difference is these are fully fitted and rigged ships. So if your corporation's in the habit of selling Doctrine ships, for instance, that are fully fitted, fully rigged, and ready to go, then this is where you would go for that. I thought about this for a long time, as whether or not I wanted to go all the way in on that. That's kind of a difficult thing to do if your Doctrine has, 20 different ships. Which ones do you do? Who likes what the most? And all the fittings. I mean, my God, a Maelstrom is a big motherfucker to fit on top of building. We have 3 of them just sitting around for anybody to use, but gee, many Christmas, I don't want to do that every day, especially with everything else we're building. But perhaps what I'll do moving forward, because of the mining being what it is and the industry being what it is, we have a ton of miners in C-137. We are a very industry-heavy corporation. What I've thought about doing here is, instead of giving away free barges like we always have, all the way up to a Covetor 1, just give them away. And if we have the fittings, we give those away too. Even the rigs, even the minor circs, even the minor efficiencies. We typically do 2 circs and 1 efficiency for those that we're giving away, even though I think by the numbers, the minor circs 3 beat it out by like 5%. And I know the industry guys are going to scream when I say, who gives a shit about 5% for the cost difference? But over time it adds up, so it is what it is. So, but I might start on the corporation mission side, go and make a couple of Venture 3s, a couple of Retrievers, a couple of Procurers for the new guys, maybe a Covetor 1 that's fully rigged, fully laid out with what we call our Doctrine barge fit, which isn't written down anywhere. We just tell each other what it is. And maybe I put those in here and have people redeem those for points. I don't know. I think that's an excellent idea. I don't know if necessarily we will do it, but I think it's an excellent idea for the corporation munitions. So I went through all of that really fast, but I probably took way too long. But I hope that all makes sense. For me personally, I think this corporation mission and corporation market page was the biggest update of the year. I mean, by far the biggest update of the year. This is just a huge quality of life improvement for a CEO, and I think it's a huge quality of life improvement for the players who are constantly trying to sell, whether that's loot, minerals, PI, back to the corporation for whatever the corporation's doing, even if it's just a holding corporation where you just buy it a little bit lower and then every week you shuttle it all up to JITA to sell it on the market. However you're doing that, I think this is a huge boon for the internal corporation and strengthening that ability to really be able to operate as a team and manage things through these pages. Which reminds me, I mean, you can do this with loot. You can do this with anything. If you know what your drops are in the area, you can go through and do ships this way. You could buy ships from your builders. You could get, if this is what drops all the time in your area, and you want to get so many of those every week for whatever your Doctrine is, that's how you can get all your Doctrine fittings. It's a wonderful tool. All that gray loot that gets repoed is really worthless, but then gets repoed. Now you give players an incentive to turn in that gray loot. I don't know about you, but we leave so much gray loot on the field. I'm willing to bet we could probably build an entire carrier with it, with how much gray loot we've left on the field in just the last month alone. So this is another way to be able to get that gray loot turned in. All right, so that was it. The industry/corporation missions market pages, how it works, how I have it set up for us to make money. I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below here on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe, ding the bell, all that funny shit that the YouTubers say. We are trying to build up this YouTube channel for sure, Rambo and I. So be sure to follow us, watch for new updates. As you've noticed over the last week, we posted a whole bunch of individual clips out of our Who Wants to Be a Billionaire game show that's going on right now. Last week was our first one. We had 4 contestants because the first one just bombed in 30 seconds flat. We were laughing our asses off. He didn't know what show he was on. Damon Zell was there listening live. So, of course, when he named Damon Zell's show instead of ours, Damon just about died laughing. He spit out his drink. I could hear him in the background. He was probably drunk again like he usually is when he comes onto our show, but we love him that way. So be sure to join us this Thursday as we go into round 2. We're going to have live listeners come onto the show and try to win $1 billion. It's $1 billion every week that we're giving away in these game shows. All you got to do is answer some questions, and you do have lifelines, so please use them. If you listen to any of these clips of these guys that have been doing this, you'll realize that, oh shit, none of them, every single one that lost didn't use a lifeline. So the reason that this episode today came out late instead of a Monday, it's coming out on a Tuesday, is because Durka Durr's epic run yesterday, just an epic run yesterday, or actually on Thursday, but I posted it yesterday. So you need to go check that out and listen to it. He got up to $750 million. So it's going to be a great show this Thursday night. The link to our Discord is down below. Please come on over and join us. Have a great time. We have a ton of people that are always there with us. And at some point coming up here soon, we will have a celebrity who wants to be a billionaire. That is, all the other content creators will have come on and try it. So we'll see if Damon Zell can be stumped. Rambo and I have had a great time stumping people so far, so I'm sure it'll be good. Until then, we will see you later. Fly passive aggressive.